This is the Zoll defibrillator that we've standardised across to the Belfast Trust and that we are changing over hopefully tomorrow to in Sick Children's. So looking at the device initially, how do we turn it on? Well, you can see there's only one way. Go to this dial up and you're going to turn it on. Now, just to make sure that everybody's aware, the machine defaults to adult mode. It will default to AED mode, where it will want to analyse and charge up should it need to charge up. And we know within paediatrics, we don't tend to use AED mode. Kids come in different shapes and sizes, different weights, so we want to use the machine in manual. So when you turn it on, disregard the initial prompts. What you will see on the left-hand side of the screen, it will say manual mode. There's a soft key underneath that. It's also labelled as well, okay? And we just want you to hit the soft key and that will bring the machine into manual mode. So just to quickly show you that, let's turn the machine on. It's going to power up. Keep a wee eye down here. Left-hand side it says manual mode. Ignore what it's saying and hit your soft key. So that's the functions of the machine open, okay, and ready to go. So let's quickly talk about what you see on screen here. So top left-hand corner, okay, we can measure end-tidal CO2. It is a numeric value only, okay, we don't have any waveforms. This purple bit here is what we call our CPR dashboard. That is going to give me feedback, okay, on how well I'm doing chest compressions in kids over 25 kilos, okay, and I'm going to come back and demonstrate that at the end. Here on the right-hand side in the top corner there, it tells me that I'm monitoring through pads. We do have the option of monitoring via your 3 leads. You have 3 lead cable set at the back, okay? So to change your view, this is a bit like my TV remote button. It changes the channel. You're going to go to lead and it gives you the option of viewing through lead 1, lead 2, 3, and then back to pads. So it just goes on a cycle the whole way around. So if you miss it the first time around, just keep going, okay? While we're here, we might as well talk about the remainder of these white keys. Size here, that just changes the amplitude of your complexes, so if you want to increase or decrease that. Alarm suspend button, well, alarms are automatically suspended, okay, but if you want to activate them, it's to hit that key. And then record. So if you hit record, it will give you a printout of what the rhythm is on screen. And if you hit that again, okay, it turns it off, okay. Down here on the left-hand side, you'll see there's a timer. That's from whenever I've turned this device on initially, okay? And then you will see on the middle of the screen, it says defib 200 joules, okay? So again, the machine, as we said at the start, it automatically defaults to cardiac arrest mode because we tend to see that more frequently. So if we have a child, so let's just change that rhythm so we can see that. So in the unlikelihood of having VF, okay, in that child, okay, so we see the rhythm on screen. 200, okay, is not the weight or the energy levels that we want to use. So we're going to say 80 joules is what we need. So if we come to the right-hand side to the red buttons here, you've got your energy select up and down. So you're going to bring that down until you can get the energy you need. So you'll notice here I've got 75 or 100. So if it's 80 joules is the requirement, we're going to up that and we're going to go to the 100. Okay. Above your energy select button is your charge button. And when that's fully charged, you will see this button highlighted. That's just a matter of holding that in. Okay. If we have a child who, which is probably what I might see a little bit more frequently, that needs synchronized cardioversion. So your sync button is down here on the right-hand side. So again, it says sync on or off. Underneath that again is another soft key. So what you want to do is to hit the soft key. So when you see that, you'll see 2 things on screen. You'll see a little arrow marking the OR wave, and it'll also say synchronized, okay, well, 100 joules, because that's what we used the last time round. So again, if I need to change that, I'll go to my energy select button, okay, I charge and deliver the shock, okay. So let's say we're going to go with, we'll keep it at 100, charge, and deliver the shock. The only thing is just hold the shock button in a little bit longer than you normally would, just like you do with your current machine. Again, the default position with this machine is that sync stays on until you deactivate it. So to deactivate the sync button is just a matter of hitting that button in there as well. If somebody has pressed charge by mistake, not meaning to, just to point out, you have a disarm button at the bottom of the screen, and hit that, and that is your machine disarmed. We also purpose of this clip is to discuss the defibrillator pads with your Zoe DFib. We have 2 sets of pads available, 1-step pads, one saying paediatric, the other saying just 1-step, which is your adult pads. So let's just discuss them. First set of pads, a slight change from what we're used to with our Philips machine. Philips sets of pads go up to 10 kilos, which is roughly 1. We've now a broader range with the paediatric pads. These pads go up to 25 kilos. So if I've got a baby or a child up to 25 kilos, we're going to use this set of pads. The other set of pads is then 25 kilos plus, or an adult. Okay, we're going to be using these. So the easiest way to do these pads will become pre-attached. That's the way they come. There's a little cable sitting at the end. They will be pre-attached to your DFib. The easiest thing to do to open the set of pads is to either go to the yellow triangle or the yellow arrow. And what you want to do is pull from either side to open the set of pads. So let's discuss for up to 25 kilos which set of pads we do. So I've gone to the yellow pad, I pull that apart, and when you open that, you will find your pads with your pictures there, so you can't go wrong. So first one, okay, we'll go at the front of the chest, the other one at the back. So you go on your standard AP. Top tip, guys, is go to the red tab here, pull from the red tab, pull that pad off, okay. Now it will leave a little wire in your packaging, which is normal, because that was to allow for the self-test, okay, when it was pre-attached, and then place your pad, okay, expelling any air out. So one at the front, and then one at the back. So your standard AP. Over 25 kilos, then our pads are going to be a little bit bigger. So pull from the yellow. Okay, again, we've got pictures keeping us right. Go to the red tab and pull down. Okay, so this pad's slightly different. In terms of where we're going, this one here has a feedback device. So for over 25 kilos, the machine will actually give us information on how well we're performing our CPR. So if we pull that pad off, this puck is placed where you should be putting your hands for chest compressions, okay? So if you, as a rough gauge, you've got a red cross, you keep that down within the center, okay? Down within the center of the sternum, okay? And then the other one in line is in underneath the axilla. So basically place the puck first and then just allow that one to roll out, okay? This one here, left-hand side, cardiac apex. If for some reason maybe the chest surface area isn't big enough to allow that standard position, or they've got chest drains or something in there that prohibits that, you can go AP with these pads. But the only thing just to remember with this, okay, is think about the puck. As I said earlier on, the puck should be placed where you place your hands for chest compressions. That's still the case. So we're just going to reverse that pad round. So puck's still in the same place. That will come out there. And there. So in the event of a cardiac arrest in a child over 25 kilos, we get the pads on. It's important to remember that your hand is placed on top of the puck on that feedback device that is going to give us some information on the defib. So as you start to squeeze that puck, you'll notice on the defibrillator, if we home in on the purple aspect, it's going to give me feedback on how well the CPR is performing. So the first one there is the depth, okay, so it's measuring the depth, okay. So we want, obviously, in our kids, a depth of 4 to 5 centimetres, and you've seen there that the depth is curved, how it's highlighted, okay, and it will tell you to squeeze harder, and when we rectify that, with temperature, hip compressions. Second thing is the rate. Rate is 100 to 120 per minute, but to keep us right with that, if you squeeze to bring that metronome, okay, you will keep well within those parameters. The next two things you'll notice is two shapes. So you've got a rectangle and you've almost like a diamond shape. The rectangle is in relation to your recoil and release. So the aim of the game is to keep that fully purple. And then the last one, all full purple, is overall perfusion pressures.
Good compression.
If you require pacing function, some of our defibrillators within sick children do have that capacity. So as you turn the machine on, if it has pacing capacity, you will see pacer underneath. So to open up that pacing window, turn that round, window opens, and you'll notice on screen it says pacing, and you'll see pacing spikes. So that's saying this machine has pacing functionality, but it hasn't actually been turned on as of yet. So the key thing here is that you need to have the defib pads on the patient. So that's how we're going to deliver our electricity. But we also need the 3 leads from the back of the defibrillator also attached to the patient, because that's how we're going to pick up their underlying rhythm. So if we get the 3 leads on the patient, we've got the defib pads also on the patient. Okay, then we need to have a look and see what's on screen. So we've got a slow rhythm, we want to speed that up a bit. So I've got pace here, underneath 0 milliamps and 70 beats per minute. Now if I've got a baby, 70 beats per minute is not going to be adequate, okay, rate to pace them at. So on that window on the right hand side, this is where I can change my rate. So it's just a matter of turning that dial to a rate that I actually want. So as I twist that dial, you can see on screen that rate has come up to, let's say we've said we're going to pace them at 110 or 120. Okay. So that's the rate we want to achieve. Then the next thing we want to do is we want to increase the energy. So beside that, I have got my output dial. And then what we're going to do is we're slowly, in real life obviously in increments of 10, okay, going to increase that until we've got capture, so where we've got a spike followed by a QRS. Now for teaching here, I'm doing this very fast. In real life, you'll take your time moving up. So we're at 60. Here we go. And then you can slowly dial that back to see what's the lower threshold. But once you've got your lower threshold, that's your pacing in place. One other button to point out, which is quite useful, is in between those 2 dials, you notice there's a little button that says 4 to 1. So if I press and hold that in for 3 beats there, it's not going to pace. And then we'll kick in then for that 4th one. So it just gives you an opportunity to see what the underlying rhythm is without turning any of your functions off.